Hi everyone, Gemma here, thanks for watching today. I'm really excited to be joining the CraftStash and family YouTube hop. We've all got together and chosen some of our favourite festive products to use and hopefully inspire you all. In the description box below you will find a list of all the hop participants and who to watch next. Make sure you also like, comment and subscribe to them all. Let's share the festive love. And talking of festive love, you have the opportunity to win a £25 CraftStash voucher. To be in with the chance of winning, you need to like and comment on this video and subscribe to my channel. Now let me show you my favourite festive products that I've chosen to use on this video. So I'm going to be making a 3D pop-up card, and I had the idea to combine these two makes together. So I'm going for a Santa's Workshop theme. So this is a previous make, and I made a Santa's Workshop, and you've got Santa in there then and a pile of presents behind. And then also I have this Christmas tree with Santa checking off his list and the elves and reindeer helping him there, and this is supposed to mimic a tree with all the lights and the stars. So I'm going to try and combine these two together in this video, and I'll just go through what I'm going to use. So all the products I'm going to be using in today's video is by Made to Surprise. So the first item is this Christmas Backgrounds, and it's an 8x8 paper pack, and I'm going to be using the tree design just to decorate the front of my card. I also have the Perky Pooches A5 stamp set, so I'm going to be using this stamp here to give the illusion of wood panels in Santa's Workshop. I've then got the reindeer stamp and die set. So I've got some of the presents, the star, the bells here. Then I'm also going to be using the Santa Claus stamp and die set. So as you can see from my previous two makes, this Santa holding his list and checking it off is one of my favourite images. So I'm going to be using that with the combination of the presents. I'm also going to be bringing in Paper Craft Society box number 37, and there are some light dies in there, so I'll be using those to decorate my tree. And then lastly I'm going to be using the Simple Pop-Ups mechanism die set, and I'll talk you through that in more detail a little bit later on. So the first thing you want to do is cut your card base. So I'm using a shop bought 7x7 card base, and I believe this is by Crafty UK. Then I've cut my pattern paper to 6.5 squared, and that will go on the front of my card. For the internal piece, I cut a piece of little cardstock to 13 by 6.5, and I've scored along the 13-inch side at 6.5. You may not have this length of cardstock, so you may alternatively want to use a 12 by 6 piece or shorter if you wish. So I'll just talk you through what I did to create my tree shape. It probably doesn't look a lot like a tree at the moment, but I'm sure it'll all come together. I have to trust the process on this one. But this doesn't necessarily have to be a tree. I'm seeing 3 cake tiers as well. What else do you think you could do with this sort of style of card? Let me know in the comments below. So to achieve this shape, I used my initial score line here at the 6.5-inch marker, and I took my die. So on this die, these 2 edges here are cutting edges, and these 3 are score lines. And you've got 2 little notches in the die. So what I did first of all was place the die over my score line. Tried to make sure that there was equal spacing on each side. I made sure that the notches lined up to the score line, and I tacked that in place with washi tape, and I put it through my die cutting machine. Next, using the score line that was created on this edge here by the die, if you can just see it there, so along there, I then placed the next size down and again did the same thing. So I lined it up to the score line, make sure that there's equal spacing on each side and the notches are on the score line. Taped it in place and run it through my die cutting machine. And then exactly the same process for the third one, using the top score line. Place your die in place, line everything up and tack it down and run it through. And then you're left with a shape like this. Next, I cut 2 pieces of 6.5 by 6.5 in craft cardstock. And what I did was folded everything into place. And I placed the craft cardstock behind this panel, making sure that everything lines up. And then I went in with a pencil from behind and drew around this. I then cut it out using a pair of scissors, and then that slots nicely there. And then I did exactly the same for this piece. So I placed the card behind, made sure everything was lined up. You might want to add a bit of washi tape on the ends to make sure it's in place, but I just held it down from behind like so and went in and drew around the shape with a pencil, and then I cut that out using a pair of scissors, and that just slots nicely over the top there. So all we're seeing is this green cardstock now for our tree. So before I attach those together and place this inside my card base, I want to add some wood grain effect onto this. So I've just brought in my stamp from the Perky Pooches set. Just going to place that on my acrylic block. And I'm going to use some gathered twigs Distress Oxide then to just stamp those panels. So I'm just working my way along now and adding the paneling effect to the craft card. I'm not being too precious about where I'm stamping. There are some bits missing, you can just go back in and stamp them. I think that just adds to the effect. Then you can go back through, and if there are any gaps, you can just fill those in. There we go. I think I'm quite happy with that panel. I'll just hold that up for you. So I'm going to set that to one side now and let that dry. I'm also going to do the same then for this panel. So I've finished that panel now. I'm going to set that to one side to dry as well. The next step is to attach this green panel then inside our card base. So I'm going to use Collal glue to attach it. I'm going to run it all along this one side first, just so that I can get that lined up and placed where I want it. So basically you want the score lines to match up, and then you should have equal spacing around each side of the card. I'm quite happy with that, and then I'm just going to flip it over and add some more glue to this panel. And then place that over the top there. And now that's where I want it. I'm going to leave it to dry upright like so, and it'll help it find its shape then when we're opening and closing the card, rather than leaving it flat and it might buckle or it will dry in that sort of shape. We want it to be in its 3D form. So I'm just going to place this on the front also. So it's a top folding card. So you want to make sure that your pattern paper is in the right orientation. So again, I'm going to set this to one side and let it dry, and I'm going to work on the rest of the elements for the card. Next, I'm going to bring in the Paper Craft Society box 37 by Made to Surprise. I've got some white scrap paper and I have these light dies. Just hold them up to the camera for you to see. So there's one in the set, but I was fortunate enough to do some work or inspiration for this box, so I have a spare one, so I'm going to use them both. And I'm just going to run it through my die cutting machine several times to get enough lights to cover the tree and to have some hanging as a decoration from the top of the card. So I'll just go ahead and do that now. So I've gone ahead and I've cut all these pieces in white cardstock. I've then used my alcohol markers to colour them in. Please excuse the scrap piece there, but I just didn't want any ink to go onto my mat. So they're ready. Hopefully I've cut enough. So the next thing that I'm going to do is, now that everything's dry, I'm going to attach my wood panels, and then we can start decorating. So there's my two pieces stuck down now. I'm just going to bring in the stamped and coloured images that I have. So I've done this off camera. So I've got Santa checking off his list, so I think I'm going to pop him there by the tree, and then add a few presents along the bottom. I've got the star there for the top. So I might just cut a scrap piece of green card, just add another little panel there to sit on the top. And then I've got these to go on the top here, and I'm going to do a string of lights along there, and they'll be at the end of the string of lights, and then some more presents, etc. then for the bottom. I haven't decided yet what I want to do for my sentiment, but I think I'm going to stamp that on white cardstock and pop that along the bottom here. So I'm going to pop you on high speed now while I get everything stuck down. So there's the final card, and I have to say I'm really in love with this one. I'm so pleased with how it's turned out. Those string lights just add that pop of colour against the craft card. And I'll just bring it up a little bit closer so you can see more of the detail. It stands up like so. If I just pop that there so you can see. So you might need to bend it forward a little bit, but then it'll stand up upright. It all falls flat. There is a little bit of bulk there. Thank you for watching today. Don't forget to hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe to the channel to be in with a chance of winning the £25 CraftStash voucher. The next person in the hop is the lovely Sheena. So head over to her channel and see what she's creating with her favourite festive products. So I'm going to take a break in the next 2 weeks to get my craft room organised and spend some time with my family and friends. And I hope you'll join me in the new year to see my craft room tour. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!